everyone. Welcome back to Champion the Passion, a weekly pro wrestling podcast where we inspire you to champion your passions and celebrate the joy in what you love. I'm your host. My name is Victoria Daisy, and today we're going to be recapping everything that happened last night on Monday Night Raw. But before we dive in, don't forget to leave a 5-star review if you enjoyed. Follow me at It's Victoria Daisy across all social platforms, and follow Champion the Passion across all streaming platforms. But let's dive right in to the opening segment with the voice of the voiceless, CM Punk. So, Punk came out to talk about his match against Gunther at SummerSlam for the World Heavyweight Championship. He said he will not quit till he gives everything he has in that ring. He will do whatever it takes to not just win, but win the championship at SummerSlam. He then said that he's prepared because he's been training his whole life for a moment like this. And he said that he is the best in the world and nothing can stop that. And then, of course, you know, you're talking this big game, and of course the champions got to come out. So Gunther came out, and the crowd began aggressively chanting, "You tapped out," and booed him so loud. Gunther couldn't even talk for a fat minute, but eventually he was able to get some words out. And of course, Gunther did the Gunther thing by insulting Punk and trying to intimidate him with his words. But we all know that Punk was not fazed by it. If you know CM Punk, then you know he's not fazed by words, only actions. I'm kidding. And so what Gunther had to say was short, but to the point. It was, what's the saying? Something that packed a punch? A small hit that packed a punch? I don't know what the saying is, but you know what I'm talking about. Basically, it was short and sweet. And I just cannot wait for this match. I am so excited. So here's my thoughts on it. I know that Gunther is going to retain, but there is a little delusion in me that's like, but like, what if CM Punk wins? Like, the chances are never, like, they're low, but they're never zero. You know what I mean? So I'm like, what if maybe, just maybe, CM Punk wins the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam? Like, that's definitely not happening, but like, what if? Just saying. Okay, next we had Rusev versus Sheamus. This was the very first match of the night, and to be honest, this was a good match, but I can't lie, I wasn't terribly interested in it, to be quite honest with you. While it's semi-nostalgic, it also feels like the 1003 match from 2012, and you know, it was what it was. I mean, it was definitely a hard-hitting, brutal match per usual from the two of them, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. I've seen it, been there, done that, wasn't kind of having it anymore, but in the end, Rusev won, and then we moved on to a little bit more of an entertaining match. So we had a number one contenders triple threat tag team match, to determine who was going to face the world tag team champions. Anyways, so we had America Made versus the LWO versus the New Day. Now, this was a really good match. I love seeing all of these tag teams colliding, considering that they all have different styles in the ring. I thought it was very interesting, not only that they put them together, but also like to see them in the match. You know, we have luchadors, we have high flyers, we have American Made, who's more like grapple style. So it was really interesting to kind of see them all collide. And, you know, there's a lot of fun spots and moments that made this match all that it was. But in the end, the LWO won and now will be the new number one contenders for the World Tag Team Championship. So, you know, I was really shocked that the LWO won, but I can't even complain. I'm really happy for them. I really do think that, you know, this is something they deserve. They've worked hard for this, and I couldn't be more happy for them. So next, let's talk about the Becky Lynch segment we had. So she came out to talk about how people have been saying her win at Evolution was, you know, slick, and now she believes that Lyra has evil intentions for their match at SummerSlam, so she called her out. Lyra came out, and Becky said that the last time they faced each other, there was a stipulation that if Becky lost, she could never challenge for the title ever again, but obviously, we know how that all panned out. Becky obviously won the match, and that's why she's champion now. And now Becky said, well, you know what? Let's play a fair game. Let's reverse the roles. So, or reverse the terms, I should say. So now the stipulation for this match is if Lyra loses, she can never challenge for the Women's Intercontinental Championship ever again. And so Lyra responded and said that if that's the case, then there must be a winner. So this has to be no countouts and no disqualifications match. And you know what? They both agreed to the terms, and then Lyra manhandle slammed Becky and made her statement and kind of clocked that T and like literally attitude and walked off. That was the end of it. And I just have to say, I loved that segment because it really set up something special. They're telling a story here, especially with these stipulations. And now it keeps me wondering, well, there's no way that Lyra, the inaugural Women's Intercontinental Champion, is just never going to have a chance at the title ever again. Like, she has to win it, right? And kind of what I said in my Evolution preview a week or two ago, all of this is just to put over Lyra. Like, Becky and even Bayley, like, don't gain anything from this, excuse me. It's all for Lyra. So, does Lyra win at SummerSlam? I think so. But again, who knows? Only time will tell. All right, the next match we're going to talk about was for the Women's Tag Team Championship. So we had Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defending against Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. Now, this was a great match. And, you know, all of the women except for Roxanne Perez, of course, did awesome. And, you know, I'm loving that Raquel has gotten so many in-ring opportunities because she truly deserves them. She's worked her butt off and she's so underrated, not only on the mic, but in the ring and just as the total package. And I'm just so happy that she's getting these opportunities that she so well deserves. And, you know, I feel like the in-ring chemistry between all of the women was really great and led to some really awesome spots and moments that made really all of this what it was. And, you know, there was a buttload of shenanigans toward the end. It was actually kind of funny. But it all eventually led to Raquel and Roxanne retaining their titles, which was awesome. Then we had Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. Obviously, we know they're trying to tell a story here. And, you know, this was another great match. I have to be honest. I love seeing the two of them, you know, collide in the ring finally. We know Sami has had some complications, but, you know, I thought that they worked really well together and put on a great banger. And, you know, even though Sami Zayn wasn't 100% clear slash like ready to go and sharp in the ring, I thought he did good for what he was able to do. But after the help of Scarlett, Karrion Kross did take the W, which makes sense because obviously it's not believable that Sami Zayn would win when his rib is like fractured. So then we had Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer. So this is technically the main event match, but not necessarily the main event like thing of the night. So I really, really, really loved this match. I thought that they put on a showstopper with incredible move sequences and spots. I will say, in the beginning, it did feel like there was a little bit of miscommunication with some of the spots, but besides that, the rest of it was just awesome. And I love both of these superstars, and I think so highly of them. Like, they are truly the cream of the crop, and seeing them collide was really a dream come true. And, you know, they both brought so much to this match in their own way, and I really hope that we get to see more of them together in the future, whether it's, you know, tag teaming against each other. I think just them working together was really awesome. And, you know, unfortunately, after that fantastic match, the match ended because Chelsea Green interfered, which was so annoying and literally did not have to happen. And I just wanted the match to end clean, and we literally didn't get that, but whatever. So then Naomi came out to just continue adding collateral damage to the situation because she is literally the definition of chaos. And then Rhea Ripley came out for the save. And now I'm trying to figure out what is the story that they're telling with all of these people. Obviously, we know that Naomi defends her Women's World Championship in a triple threat match at SummerSlam against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. But what does Chelsea Green and the Secret Hervis have to do with this, along with Stephanie Vaquer? I'm really intrigued to see kind of where this goes even past SummerSlam. I don't know if anything's going to happen at SummerSlam with them. But let's head into the final segment of the night. We had a Roman Reigns segment. So first, Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed came out. And, you know, Paul tried to talk, but Roman didn't let that slide. And he came out real quick. And then Paul said that he doesn't want to be disrespectful, but Roman is already starting off bad. And Paul started yapping like he always does. And Roman responded and said, quote, "A few years ago, I would have said that those were wise words from a wise man. but that ain't you anymore. And he said some other words that I won't repeat, but if you saw, then you know. And Roman warned Braun that one day far from now, Paul Heyman will turn on him just like he did to him. And then he said that the only reason Roman is still tribal chief is because the fans still acknowledge him. And you know what? I just have to say, I love that we are in full baby face mode for Roman Reigns. I mean, we have been in a freaking drought. I love heel Roman. I think he's so funny. But you know, there's something about a babyface moment that really just tugs at my heart. I love it. And I was just so happy to see him literally acknowledge the fans himself and, you know, realize that we're the reason for the season. You know what I mean? And then he talked about how Paul always tried taking credit for creating and making the bloodline. But then he said, quote, "This was never a wrestling creation, but this was a God creation." Then he said that he took some time to step away from wrestling to raise the next generation of the bloodline because it's family that makes the bloodline, not Paul Heyman. And when he said that, I was like, period, clock that T. And then he started blaming Braun Breaker for everything that's happened. And honestly, Braun was not having it. And it kind of made me chuckle a little bit. So then Braun got on the mic finally to let Roman know that he's the big dog now. And Roman's prime is over. And he told him to do what he does best, and that's to leave. And when he said that, I was like, oh, buddy, you are playing with fire right now. You are walking on thin ice, my dude. You are actually insane. So Roman then said that he didn't hear a word that he actually just said. So he was like, "Oh, why don't you try my mic?" So he threw his microphone at him and then he Superman punched him, as he freaking should. And so then he attacked them. But then obviously the numbers game played into effect and they all ended up attacking him. And so, you know, he kind of needed some help. Maybe some help from the Yeet Master. So Jey Uso came out for the save and absolutely destroyed Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. I was a little bit gagged. I was like, okay, Jey, let's go. And so now I'm assuming that this is going to be the match for SummerSlam. We still haven't gotten an official announcement, but I'm going to assume that maybe Friday or next week we'll get that official announcement. So I'm really excited for Jey Uso and Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. I think that it's going to be awesome. And also playing back into the babyface thing, WWE posted that after Raw went off of air, Roman Reigns yeeted on top of the turnbuckle with Jey, and I thought that was iconic. And I was like, oh, period. We've been waiting a long time for this. So that was really awesome. But let's head into my overall thoughts. I thought it was a really good Raw. My match of the night, hands down, was Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer. Even though it didn't end the way that I was hoping, it still was a huge banger. My segment of the night, no doubt, was Roman Reigns. I mean, that was 10 out of 10 no notes. I mean, it left me so ecstatic for the possibility of the SummerSlam match, and I couldn't be more excited. Overall, I'd give the show about a solid 7.5 out of 10. Again, really enjoyed it. Also, if you guys follow me on social media, I announced yesterday, Monday, that I will be taking a short break from Champion the Passion, this podcast I love dearly. You guys know I host it 4 times a week. I recap Raw, NXT, Dynamite, SmackDown, and it is the time of my freaking life. I love it so much. I believe this week we are hitting 100 episodes. I think on Thursday is going to be my 100th episode. Tomorrow or Thursday. I have to look at my calendar. And it's going to be so amazing. And I'm just so thankful for all your support. This started as a passion project, and then it turned into something so beautiful with such a beautiful community. And I love you guys so much. But I did announce that I'm taking a very short break from July 26th to August 5th. And the reason why I'm taking that about 2-week break is because I'm going to SummerSlam. I think I've announced that on the podcast. I've definitely announced it on social media, but I'm going to SummerSlam both nights in New Jersey, and I need to have time to prepare for everything. I'm going to be there for up to 5 or 6 days, I believe. I don't remember. And, you know, I've got a lot of fun things planned, even outside of SummerSlam. I'll be going to New York Giants training camp, exploring NYC, just a lot of fun things. We're going to the Superstore, obviously SummerSlam, like so many fun things. I'll get to spend time, with some of my family up there. And so I'm just taking this time to really prepare, pack, get everything ready to go and really just enjoy my time and also be able to have a break so that when the time comes for SummerSlam next weekend, I am fully ready to go to bring you guys the best content possible. So, again, the last episode for this week will be on Thursday. I will not be doing my SmackDown recap. That is the first day of my break. So, July 26th through August 5th, and then regular schedule programming will be back August 6th. I believe that's going to be an NXT recap. So, very excited. I am going to miss doing the podcast for about 2 weeks, but actually, is it 2 weeks? It is 2 weeks. But you know what? Sometimes we need to take a little break, but then we'll be back and better than ever, and I cannot wait. But let me stop rambling. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to this episode of Champion the Passion. Don't forget to leave a 5-star review if you enjoyed. Follow me at It's Victoria Daisy across all social platforms and follow Champion the Passion across all streaming platforms. Don't forget to champion your passions and celebrate the joy in what you love, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.